With 2020 anticipated as the year of success, I believe the shock and disappointment hit us hard as coronavirus began to take over our daily lives, especially with people saying things like the new normal and stay 6 feet apart. It's no wonder this season has been particularly difficult. The immediate closures and cancellations of schools, sports, graduations, and weddings left society at home wondering, what can we do now? With shock, grief, and anger going through everyone at different rates, the attitude of either defiance or submission was also within us. With more defiant attitudes trying to take back their freedoms by seeing their friends are not wearing masks, and the more submissive wondering why some people couldn't just help the greater good. This brought a sense of disunity to America as we all grieved what we thought would be the year of prosperity. Without schedules and commitments, I think most people found themselves at a loss when they tried to find their worth in careers or activities that the government took away so easily. People grasping at whatever they could to find stability. The lack of warm hugs and smiling faces making it slightly harder to go about our days. But the most frustrating part for future-focused Americans was not being able to do anything. Resting for once in this busy world was somehow saving it and saving ourselves. By staying home, we were heroes. Society felt helpless as they dealt with situations they couldn't change. At the heart of all this chaos, fear seems to be the root cause of what has changed our lives so prominently in these last months. Businesses closing, social media freakouts, and the lack of human connection, all in the name of protecting our health. For me, it meant our choir group couldn't compete at state, and the cancellation of the Governor's 4.0 luncheon. It meant my team couldn't compete in person at the National FCCLA Star events. It meant finishing my sophomore year at home and the possibility of no volleyball season. As I dealt with being okay with things I had no control over, I had to start looking at the positives. With all the disappointments, it was inevitable that society became grateful for all it had lost. Americans started to appreciate all the freedoms we'd previously taken for granted while being stuck at home. While this gratitude may have shown through frustration and sadness, anxious for its return, we knew our rights were precious to us. We also realized that the material things weren't as important as we thought. As people we loved died, our family became something to be protected and cared for. Time with them was much more valuable than anything money could buy. We learned what was truly important. As Americans and as people, we've all had to go through hard times. This wasn't the first tragedy the U.S. has had to come over, looking back at history. Like all grief, it brings a sense of compassion for those in need. As a society, we realized our small businesses were struggling and we wanted to support them. We saw our essential workers as more than just a convenience, but as real people risking their lives for ours. So we started to come up with service projects to help those who did the jobs no one else wanted to do. We became thoughtful and reached out to others, wanting nothing in return but the good health of everyone. The best thing about this experience is realizing we're never truly alone in our sufferings. As we go through this together, even when it's hard, life moves on. Because even with the sense of disconnection, my unrelenting history teacher mandated Zooms to keep us in the loop with AP exams. Even with the sense of helplessness and frustration, we became compassionate and thoughtful of our essential workers, helping however we could. Finally, fear, being behind closures all around the country, my sister was able to come home from college, time together we never would have gotten. Thinking through this pandemic and what it's brought me in society has been many things. It's brought helplessness, frustration and fear, and disunity. But it's also brought compassion, thankfulness, and time with our loved ones. We can only pray our country is protected as we all do our part in this pandemic.